everyone, Julia here. First off, I wanted to say before I get into this soap, um, as you can see, I do wear safety glasses all times. I had a few people comment on the fact that I don't wear gloves. Um, I recommend everybody to wear gloves. I just don't. Sometimes I wish I had gloves on because soap does not feel good when it gets on your skin. But anyhow, let's get around to this soap. Um, Today we're going to make gradient soap, and it's using two colors. Basically what you have is your color and then your white. And the thing about gradient soap is you want to try to find a fragrance oil that is not one that stays loose for a very long time, if that makes sense. But you also don't want it to go into a heavy trace really quick either. So you kind of want it in between, either that or you want to be a little patient. Sometimes I have a lot of trouble with being patient. Now, as far as mixing colors, I don't think I've ever talked about this. I use mostly micas, and for my white, I use titanium dioxide. I know a lot of people have trouble with titanium dioxide um, separating when the soap cures, kind of like they call it glycerin rivers. Um, I use an oil-based titanium dioxide, and I never have that trouble. However, when you use titanium dioxide, you need to mix it. You need to mix it really well into your soap battery. Even though I mix it really well, I still tend to get sometimes little clumps of white in my soap. When you use micas, such as that blue there, it doesn't happen. You could see me cleaning off the spoon there because I don't want the spoon to get, or the spoon had little clumps on it, and I didn't want to stir that up with the little clumps of titanium dioxide. So here we're going to start. You first pour a layer of your dark color, and this is the tricky part because when you first pour it, the soap is kind of soft, and you're gonna have to let it sit for a second. If not, your layers are gonna break through. I'm kind of impatient, and most of the time my first layer always breaks through, and you're gonna see that in the end soap here. And most of y'all that see my videos notice that I usually use my tall mold. Well, I did it in my short wide mold this time because excuse me, because it seems to just be a little bit more easy. That first layer is actually your toughest one. It gets really quick and really easy after that as the soap gets thicker. When you're doing this soap too, you want to try to make sure that you don't get soap all up on the sides. If you do, just wipe it down with a paper towel. But it's as easy as this. What I'm doing is every time I do a layer, I add more white to the color. And so each time that I pour a layer, it gets a little bit lighter and lighter and lighter. And you can do as many layers as you want. I think here I did like 4 and then topped it off with white. As you can see, the layers are going on a little bit easier because the soap is getting thicker. Sometimes with soap making, it's hard to really determine how your fragrance oil is going to act with your soap. So I actually picked this fragrance oil because I knew that if I wait too long, it will get thick, but it thickens up a lot faster than some of the others. But it doesn't get too thick really, really fast. So it kind of gives me the time to play with it like it requires in this technique. I don't know how many layers that was. I think that was, this should be the fourth. Now, also with this gradient soap, if you're really careful, you can get straight layers. It takes a lot of patience and a lot of time. However, I kind of like the little dips and ridges that you get into it. Um, I actually live in the mountains, and this particular color reminds me of some of the pictures of the Blue Ridge Mountains here in North Carolina. However, I'm not going to name that soap Blue Ridge because it's actually kind of a sea scent. But the final one, it kind of does look like mountains in the final picture. I guess I did 5 layers. I don't know. I lost count. This is the last one, and with this batch, I kind of mixed up a little too much of the blue, but I'd rather have a little too much than not enough. And as you can see, that goes pretty fast. It's really thickening up now. Now what I do is there's several things you can do. This I'm just topping off with white. However, you can do a pencil line. You can I've done cocoa powder, just sprinkle cocoa powder across the top. You can sprinkle mica across the top and then put your last layer on. It really makes a really neat effect. However, in this one, I just topped it off with white. Because I didn't have as much white left, because I was trying to get that last color a little lighter, um, I just went ahead and did a kind of a flat top because I didn't want to try to peak it because I didn't want to poke through the layers on the bottom. So I was real careful and just did kind of a wavy peak top. Since it's kind of an ocean scent, um, I guess it was kind of mimicking, the ripples on the water. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Um, I it it's a simple technique, but it does take a little bit of time and patience. But the results are really worth it, and you can do it with any colors, and it just looks great. Well, anyway, thank y'all for watching, and if you have any questions, just give me a holler down below.